Mr. Morrow presents the Emmy Award-winning series, Morrow Teaches Online. Hi, I'm Mr. Morrow, here to teach you about radicals, trigonometry, and algebraic fractions. So let's see how well we did. Okay, scientific notation. We saw so many mistakes on the last graded assignment on this. This cannot be your answer. So many of you picked stuff that looked like that. And why can't that be your answer? I'm so glad you asked. You see this? Is that a number between 1 and 10? No, the last time I checked, if I have $26.64, that's not between $1 and $10. Again, the number has to be between 1 and 10. Personally, if you don't need to show work, here's what I would do. I would go to your calculator. I would go to mode. I would see on top, it says normal. I would switch it to scientific. Press enter. Now you type in the question. 7.2 times 10 to the 5th, 3.7 times 10 to the 3rd. Again, parentheses, 7.2 times. And also, did you ever notice this? There, you see where it says log? Right above log, it says 10 to the. You could just type that in, 10 to the, and it will do that for you. So what was it? It was 10 to the 5th. And then make sure you get down from there. And then parentheses, I have the worst memory. 3.7. And then you can do times, and then right above the log button, it says 10 to the. And then 3rd, and then go down. Again, if you put it in scientific mode, it will do it for you. I don't know why more of you didn't take advantage of that on the last grade assignment. It was kind of weird. I really thought you were going to. If you want to do it by hand, then you got to be careful. Remember, you're doing 7.2 times 3.7. You get that. Then remember, when you multiply, you're going to add the exponents, which is that. The thing is, if the answer is not between 1 and 10, and 26.64 is not between 1 and 10, remember the expression LERD. It stands for, if you gotta move the decimal to the left to make it between 1 and 10, you gotta move the exponent up 1. If you gotta move the decimal to the right, then you gotta move the exponent down. Again, I think the calculator is the easier way. Just remember, on the calculator, if you ever see E, that means times 10 to the. I don't know why the calculator can't do that. Okay, for number 2, again, is this a number between 1 and 10? The answer is no. So you gotta move the decimal. Just erase it. You got to move the decimal to the left 1. If you got to move it to the left 1, then you got to move the exponent up 1. And there's your answer. Division works the same way. Just the only difference is when you divide, when you divide, you subtract the exponents. Now, there's a number, 0.5. Is 0.5 between 1 and 10? The answer is no. That's why we need to watch the videos. Of course, this is kind of a stupid statement, because if you're watching this, you're probably one of the kids that watch the videos. So here we go. If you have to swoop it to the right one, remember LERD. If you're moving right, you're going to move the exponent down 1. So if you're moving the exponent right 1, just move the exponent down 1, which is why it's that answer. But again, if you put your calculator in scientific mode, it will do it for you. Now again, if it says show your work, then that's a different story. But at least you could check your answer. Come on. So many people made that mistake in the last graded assignment. I was kind of disappointed. Again, is this a number between 1 and 10? No. So swoop it once, but then you got to lower the exponent once. Again, LERD. I know it's a silly thing. Okay, number 5, explain why 54.9 times 10 to the 5th is not written in scientific notation form. If you haven't noticed, we clearly are trying to stress this topic because a lot of you are messing up this topic. Again, is this a number between 1 and 10? No, so you're going to write no because 54.9 is not a number between 1 and 10. That's simple. Okay, so that's scientific notation. I get angry. Grr. All right, number 6, the second that you see something about right triangles and sine, cosine, or tangent, that's where you need to write SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA. Yes. So katawa. All right. Again, figure out what angle we're talking about. We're talking about angle A. I like to draw the little swoop. And now label everything. Across from the right angle is the hypotenuse. And remember, whatever is across from the angle, what is the angle looking at? It's the opposite side. Remember, these are the sides that make up this angle. The opposite side will always be the one side that doesn't touch the angle. So that's the H, that's the O, and the remaining sign is the A. If it's talking about the sign, which one of these is talking about sign? The one with an S. So we're going to use this acronym. So, meaning use the opposite and hypotenuse. Use the opposite and the hypotenuse. So 5 divided by 7.8, and there it is as a fraction. I'm sorry, as a decimal. Okay, number 7. Label it. We're talking about B. Here's B. H is across from the right angle. O is across from the angle. A is the remaining sign. If we're talking about cosine, we're using Ka, which stands for adjacent over the hypotenuse. The adjacent over the hypotenuse. So 12 divided by 14.4, and there's your answer. Come on. Come on. You can do it, buddy. All right, number 8. Again, let's label this. They're talking about A. Ooh, this one's talking about C. That was mean. That was really mean. They're trying to pull a fast one on us. So let's label it first for A. So for A, H, O, A. Okay, sign. Remember, so, ka, toa. So here we go. So, opposite over hypotenuse, 9 over 15. For cosine is ka, which is 12 over 15, and there's your answer. But now we tried to pull a fast one on you, and I almost fell for it too. Now it's talking about tangent of C. So that changes things now. So now I'm going to erase the O and the A. So be very careful that you know which angle we're talking about. Now we're talking about this angle. So now this is the O, and that's the A. So a lot of you probably wrote 9 over 12. The answer is actually, remember, 12 over 9. You do the O first, then the A. So the answer is 12 over 9. Guys, when we say the ratio, we want them as fractions. Some of you were writing them as decimals. We don't really like that. I get for the multiple choice we did, but if we're telling you to write the ratio, we prefer as a fraction. And don't simplify it. We prefer if you don't. Okay, which statement is not true? Now, this is a pain in the butt question because you really got to see all of the combinations to know which one's not right. So let's first talk about C, since the first two are talking about C. Okay, so for C, H, O, and A. So sine of C, it claims it's 12 over 15. O over H, because again, so, ka, toa. You need to know that. That's the most important thing to know about trigonometry, is that acronym. O over H is 12 over 15. That is correct. So that question is correct. Okay, let me keep labeling it. H and O. Cosine. Cosine. Ka. Is the adjacent over the hypotenuse correct? 9 over 15. Is that what that says? No. So then that's the answer. We were looking for which one is not true. Again, I know it's messy. Deal with it. Okay. Which equation can be used to find the measure of angle X? So angle X, H, because that's the right angle, O, and A. So sine, if it truly was sine, it should have been opposite over hypotenuse, opposite over the hypotenuse. Well, you can't use that because there's nothing for the hypotenuse. So basically, since we don't know what the hypotenuse is, everything go away. We don't know anything about the hypotenuse. So what uses the H? Sine uses an H, cosine uses an H. Okay? So now that I'm looking at this, this answer is actually wrong. That is not the answer. Because again, if they tell us nothing about the hypotenuse, how can it be sine or cosine? So it's got to be one of the tangent ones. So remember what tangent is. It's O first, then the A. O first, then the A. So the answer is actually C. So that is wrong. So if you're the person who doesn't watch the videos and just tries to find the answers, you're probably wondering why it said B. It's not. It's actually C. There's your answer. Next part. 11. I see things about trigonometry. So, ka, toa. That's why we love it when you guys write it on graded classwork. Use trigonometry to find the missing sides. So, I always like to label all the sides. That's the H. Again, across from it is the O, and that's the A. They tell us nothing about the H. So what uses an O and an A? What uses an O and an A? That's right, tangent. So again, the way you write it, you don't ever write this. We don't want to see that written down, ever. Again, you write tangent and then whatever the angle is. In this case, the angle is X. And then you write O, which is 50, over 20. Now, before you type in anything into the calculator, go to mode. First of all, I'm going to switch it back to normal. For the third line, it better say it's in degrees. If you reset your calculator or even switched out the battery sometimes, it will switch back to radians. You need it to say degrees. Once when it says degrees, press second quit and you're good. It should be there if you haven't changed anything. So now, to find an angle, you're going to press second, tangent, and then just type in the fraction. You would not write this exact down. You're not a calculator. You wouldn't write that. So what does it tell us to round to? It says round to the nearest degree. Okay? So then it's 68 degrees. Because it says round the angles to the nearest degrees. If you read the instructions, it says round angles to nearest degree and sides to nearest 10. Now we're only finding the angle. So we're going to round that to the nearest degree, 68. Now, you know that's the correct answer, because if you forget to type in second tangent and you just type in tangent 50 divided by 20, I mean, you're now telling me that this angle is less than 1 degree wide. That's, if you make an angle with your hands, you're barely even opening your hand. So that's definitely not, we want nice fat angles. We don't want an angle that rounds to 0 degrees. So if you ever get that, you know you did something wrong. Okay, with the next one, again, there's a lot of things here. So I'm going to erase this because I am getting overwhelmed. Okay. Beautiful. So, they give us the angle, H, O, and A. Now they tell us nothing about the A. So what uses an O and an H? Sine. O and H. So O is X, H is 20. Now remember, if they give you the angle, you're going to, first of all, we should have shown a little bit more work. If you got to get X alone, remember you cross multiply. Cross multiply. Sine 32 times 20 is 20 sine 32. You should always put the number in front. So X equals sine 20 sine 32. So when you go to the calculator, you're just going to type in 20 sine, not second sine, because they gave you the angle this time. The last time we were finding the angle. And there it is. Now, we need to round this to the nearest 10, so it should be 10.6, which is not the answer. What is happening? Oh, no wonder. Anybody want to tell me a mistake? I know you were yelling it through. Like, where did that 20 come from? What is happening with this answer key? Jeez. That should be a 4. Sorry. So again, if you're the person who likes to skip around and you're like, where is he getting these answers from? Again, there's a few mistakes. So it should be 4 sine 32, not 20 sine 32. Jeez. Oh my goodness, I gotta pay attention. Okay, so what do you get? So now when we type it in, jeez, 4 sine of 32, there it is. You get 2.1, which is the correct answer. Now, you know to press sine instead of second sine, because if you press second sine, yeah, that will give it away that you typed in the wrong button if you get an error message. And if you press go to, I mean, it doesn't actually tell you this time, but sometimes it says, hey, you shouldn't have pressed second. Wouldn't that have been nice? All right. Are there any more mistakes? So yeah, if you see a mistake, please let me know. And I know you're like, how the heck am I supposed to go? Well, comment if I don't catch it. A driveway is built on an incline so that it raises 3 meters over a distance of 20 meters. So they're telling us this is the angle. So the H, that's the O, this is the A. They tell us nothing about the A. So we need sine. Because again, what uses O and H? Sine. So sine of x, now I got to look at these so closely. 3 over 20. Yes, that is correct. Now, some kids are like, should I cross multiply? No, if you're finding an angle, you're just going to type in the fraction. So if we're finding an angle, press second sine, 3 divided by 20. And when you round to the nearest whole number, you get 9 degrees, which is what the answer is. Okay, and the bottom one, a ladder is 15 feet long, leans against a tree, and makes an angle 60 degrees with the ground. So here's the angle. Again, across from the right angle, there's your H, there's your O, there's your A. They tell us nothing about the O. What uses an A and an H? Cosine. So here we go. They give us the angle this time. Cosine of 30 is equal to x over 15. Okay, I gotta check my math again because I'm embarrassed. Oh my goodness, I did it again! Jeez, what is wrong with me today? Oh my goodness. Should be 60. Maybe I'm just testing you to make sure you're paying attention. Let's go with that. Okay, is x alone? No, so we need to cross multiply. Oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed. X equals 15 cosine 60. Well, for my students, they're not surprised. They're like, he did this all year. So X equals 15 cosine 60. And when you do that, you got to type it in your calculator. Now, we're not finding an angle. So you're not going to press second cosine. You're just going to press regular cosine. And there it is, 7.5 exactly. How nice. Yay. And you should write the units. I know a lot of you are like, do I have to? I mean, it's nice. Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, we're done with trigonometry. Hopefully that's the end of moral mistakes also. So, for number 12, first thing you got to do is, now, it says the cube root. So, you don't have to do a check for cube root. Because remember how we always say, can you square root and get a negative? No. It does not apply when the root is odd, like a cube root is a 3. So you don't really have to check it. I mean, it's nice to check it to make sure you did it right, but you don't need to check for extraneous solutions like we learned in that topic. If it's a cube root, if that's the answer that you got, it's probably the answer unless you made a mathematical mistake. Now remember what the rules are. If there's something on the outside, attack that first. There's a 4 outside of the radical. So divide by 4, divide by 4. You get 2. Now, everything else is inside. So to get rid of a cube root, you got to cube both sides. So remember, if you don't know where the cube button is, it's just the caret symbol. So, or you can go to math. Right above division, there it is. 2 to the cube. Okay, and you get 8. Also, you wouldn't say 2 to the cube. You would just say 2 cubed. All right. So when you cube a cube root, it disappears. Disappears. So now you get 2x plus 6 equals 8, two-step equation, and you get 1. So we didn't have to do a check for that because, again, cube roots are not as bad as square roots. Okay, with 13, is there anything I can attack on the outside? No, so then you go straight into squaring both sides. So when you square both sides, goodbye roof, disappears. Now, everything is not on the same side of the equal sign. So I'm going to subtract this x squared to this side. Because remember, it has to equal 0. Now, when you do that, it was a trinomial, now it's a binomial, which made our life so much easier because now it's just a two-step equation. So you subtract 12, you get negative 12, divide by 2, and you get negative 6. Now, don't stop here, though. And you don't need to write x equals negative 6 as extraneous. You don't really need to write that. I mean, it's nice if you do, but you don't have to because that's not the answer. Because remember, you have to do a check. Now, at this step, it says square root equals negative 6. I already know this is not going to work because when you square root a number, can you get a negative? No, because when you solve this, you get 6 equals negative 6, which is not true. So remember, the answer is not extraneous solution. The answer is there is no solution. Don't tell me -6 is not an answer. Again, that's the equivalent of saying, what's 1 plus 1? Well, 3 is not an answer. That's cool. That doesn't answer the question. The answer is, if there's no answer that works, the answer is no solution. Next one. Again, there's a square root sign. Is there anything outside? No. So you're going to square both sides. Same question as last time. You subtract the x squared to this side. You get a binomial. You solve a two-step equation, and you get 7. When you plug in 7, though, it does work. If we say solve and check, you better check, because don't forget, for the extraneous solutions topic, the check is the important part, because you can get as many answers as you want. If they don't work, then they're not answers, so you have to do a check. Okay, 15 is the hardest of these questions, I think. Are there any more of these? No. All right. So 15 is the hardest of these questions, because again, if there's nothing outside, square first. But now you get x squared equals 10x minus 24. Does that equal 0 yet? No. So we're going to move all of this side. And the reason we're going to move all of this side is because we like that this x squared is positive. If we subtracted the x squared, then we would have a negative x squared, and we don't want that. So you're going to move this all to this side. So you're going to minus the 10x to this side. You're going to minus the 24. Now, some of you were writing it like this. Does that look like how we've been writing our trinomials all year? No. That's not in standard form. Always write it in standard form. So now here we go. X squared minus 10x plus 24 equals 0. That's a trinomial, so let's factor it. Bubble, bubble, x, x, same signs, both minus. Factors of 24 that add to 10 are 6 and 4. I like to draw a T to make it look organized. You set each bubble equal to 0. Solve it, or you can just do the opposite if it's this easy. And you get 6 and 4. When you check 6, it works. When you check 4, it works. Then both of them are answers. Hooray. Number 16. Remember, when is it undefined? The definition of undefined is when the denominator equals 0. So I don't even care what the top says. It doesn't matter what the top says. It doesn't. Now, I wouldn't actually do that. But it doesn't matter what the top says. All you need to do is set the denominator equal to 0 for all of them. Because once when that denominator is 0, it's over. So x minus 8 equals 0. It's a one-step equation. The answer must be 8. Because if you plug in 8 here, 8 minus 8 is 0, and then that's undefined. Again, two-step equation here. We would prefer it as a fraction. We don't really want to see this. We don't really want that. All right, and then this one, it's a trinomial. So I'm sorry, whoa, it's a binomial, which means it's also dots. Okay, so x squared minus 100. You set it equal to 0. Double bubble, and you set each bubble equal to 0. Draw the T because I like the T. X plus 10 equals 0, x minus 10 equals 0. So it must be 10 and negative 10. And there's your answer. Okay, simplifying algebraic fractions. Remember what the rule is. Factor first. So when you factor the top part, you get x minus 5, x minus 3. Because remember, same signs, both negative. So again, x, x, same signs, they're both negative. Factors of 15 that add to 8. 3 and 5. Once when you do that, you can give it a nice little cross off if you don't want to keep rewriting it. You can factor out the 2. You're GCFing it. Take out a 2. You're left with x minus 5. Okay? Now that remember, the rules about bubbles are, you either take all of the bubble or none of the bubble. If the bubbles are exactly the same, you can cross them off. Okay? You can factor out a 5. And on the bottom part, that's a trinomial. And what do you notice? X plus 4 are the same, and there's your answer. Okay, adding. This was the most recent topic. Remember, before you can add, the denominators have to be the same. They're not. What does 3 and 2 both go into? 6. So to make a 3 into a 6, multiply by 2. To make a 2 into a 6, multiply by 3. But remember, with this top numerator, you need to distribute that 2. Distribute the 2. So you get 2x minus 4 over 6x plus 18 over 6x. Combine like terms. -4 plus 18, you get 14. But remember, if there's a number that can go into all three of them, you need to simplify it. And there's your answer, because you took out a 2. The next one, go away. What does 3 and 4 both go into? They both go into 12. So multiply by 4 to this one, multiply by 3 to this one. When you do that and add, there's your answer. C star C, because that's the one students mess up the most. Remember, you're not just minusing an x. You have to distribute that negative. So what I wrote here is wrong. I didn't really write it, so I can't really take blame for this one. When you distribute that negative, remember, it's like keep, change, and then opposite of everything inside. Okay? So keep, change, opposite. So you get 7x. I'm sorry. What I forgot to mention at top part is, are they the same denominators? No, so we got to multiply by 5. But remember, it's not a 5, it's a -5 that you're distributing, sorry. So you get -5x and positive 15. So now you get 7x minus 5x is 2x plus 15. There's nothing you can take out of all three, so then that's your answer. And then this part, remember, you have to factor first. So this is a trinomial, you're going to double bubble that. This is a trinomial, you're going to double bubble that. And that's GCF, so you can pull out a 2. Okay? So that's what I have written down here. And then once when you factor all three of these, let the mad canceling begin. If you see the exact same bubble, cross them off. If you see the exact same bubble, cross them off. Now, what else do I see? I see a 2 down here and a 2 up there. Remember, when you're canceling out, it really becomes a 1. You can't just have, a lot of kids think, oh, if the numerator disappears, then this is my answer. That's not how it works at all. Again, numerators don't just disappear. When in doubt, there's a 1 on top. So if everything disappeared in the numerator, there's still a 1 up there. So you have 1 over x plus 5. 1 over x plus 5. And there's your answer. For B, double bubble, it's a trinomial. This one is GCF. This one's a trinomial. This one's a trinomial. So you got a lot of factoring to do. So let the mad canceling begin. I see an x minus 3 on top, an x minus 3 on the bottom. I see an x plus 5 on top. I see an x plus 5 on the bottom. I see an x minus 2 on top. I see an x minus 2 on the bottom. Again, be neat. Because if you cross off like that 5, you will forget it was there. If you cross off the x plus 4, you'll forget it was there. So there's your answer. And the last part. With division, don't forget, keep, change, flip. Again, not the kernel. We're not talking about Kentucky Fried Chicken. Again, that would be different ordering. So, before you start factoring, you have to keep, change, flip, go away. So, keep the first bubble, change this to multiplying, and then you're going to flip the second bubble. Obviously, before you cross it off, you should rewrite it first. Then once when you know it's exactly the same, then cross it off. So now, double bubble the top, double bubble the bottom. GCF this one, GCF that one. And that's what we have right here. So, once when you factor it correctly, find matching bubbles. X minus 1, x minus 1, x plus 2, x plus 2. So, and then there's also the 4 and the 2. What goes into both? A 2. So then that 2 goes away and that becomes a 2. So what are you left with? You're left with 2, an x plus 3, and an x plus 4. Now it says either one is the correct answer. We like it this way. When I think of factoring and simplifying, I think of pulling it apart. If you distribute that 2 back in, I mean, I guess it's also correct, but then it doesn't feel like you pulled it apart enough. So I prefer that one as the answer, but both are technically answers. Again, division, keep, change, and then you're going to flip this. Flip it. So when you flip it, and then you can double bubble everything. Double bubble, that's dots, that's a trinomial, that's a trinomial. But don't forget to flip that second fraction. Okay, let the mad canceling begin. X plus 4, x plus 4. X minus 6, x minus 6, x plus 2, x plus 2, and you're left with that. Now, am I allowed to do that? Absolutely not. Remember, you either take all of it or none of it. You can't take part of it. And then E, again, I see a division, so you're going to keep this one. You're going to keep, change, and then you're going to flip that, okay? So keep, change, flip. So I'm going to rewrite the last fraction because we have to flip it. And once when I did that, remember, just give it a one-line cross-off because if you mess something up, you can't read it if you do one of these things. Come on. If you do one of these, now you can't read it if you messed up. So don't do that. Okay. So that became multiplying now. Okay. This is GCF. This is GCF. This is GCF. That you can't do anything with. This is a trinomial, and that's dots. So that tested you on everything. So if you can do E, you can do them all. And then let the mad canceling begin. X plus 3, X plus 3, X plus 2, A plus 2, A plus 2, A plus 4, A plus 4. What do you have left? You have a 3, and A minus 6. A 5, and an A minus 4. Again, you got to find them all. Again, it says either one is correct. In my mind, this one is more correct. And then the last one. Here we go. What can I do first? So let's factor out, you know what, there's a lot of junk going on over here. Go away. Let's get this nice and clean. All right. So I can factor out a 2. I'm left with X plus Y. Now, some kids, when they see this 2, they like to rewrite it. I mean, if you want to, yeah, you can rewrite it twice just to make your life easier. I mean, it couldn't hurt. All right. So let the mad canceling begin now. Also give that a cross off so we don't think it's still part of it. I see an X plus Y. I see an X plus Y. So that's gone. I see one X on top and 2 X's on the bottom. So that 1 X disappears, and these 2 X's become just 1 X now. I see 2 Y's on top and 1 Y on the bottom. So that 1 Y disappears, and one of these Y's disappear. And also, I see a 6 and a 2. So you can take a 2 out of both, so that becomes a 1 or it's gone. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay? So what am I left with? What do we have left? I see a 3 on top. I see it. So let's see what we got. 3 and X plus Y, and there's still an X there. So your answer is 3 times X plus Y over X. And there's your answer. Remember, you can't take part of it. And there it is. So I hope you understood Chapter 10. And that's the last chapter. It's been a pleasure, guys. I really do hope you've been watching these videos. I really hope that this helped out, not being in an actual classroom. And I really do miss you guys, and I gotta be honest, I hate making videos, and I love teaching in front of you guys. So until we see each other again, I miss you guys, and it's been a pleasure making videos for you. Bye.